My channel's a geezer channel.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You got a bunch of
I said, I wish I could have that, so I beg it. Well, I mean, how do you know what that is? No. I simply asked. I said, I wish I could have that, so I beg it. Well, I mean, how do you know what that is? I simply asked. I said, I wish I could have that, so I beg it. Well, I mean, how do you know what that is?
Life and Vibe, thanks so much. My queen, my Sarasota Tim expert.
Yeah, that's what they say. They say all sorts of things about me, but yeah, it's all good. Hey, everybody. I hope you've got your Perry Mason hats on tonight because we're going to talk about some legal stuff involving my upcoming case with Sarasota Tim. And just wanted to make sure I could get in. Hey, Brianne, I saw you nice and early. Hey, Miss Carol. Hey, Miss Ann. Here we got Z-Car in the house. Hey, Denise is here. Lots of people. Miss Vicky here. Oh, let me just show you guys. Hey, Miss Vicky, how you doing? You got a notification. Shoot, YouTube's doing its job. That's wild. I've never known that to happen. Everybody, it's nice to see everybody. If I don't get you all. Hey, Birdie. Hey, Angel. I'm glad you're here. Crushing It's here. And Catherine, I took care of what you asked me to in that email. That's all I'm going to say. How about that? So let me plug my computer in so we don't die. Hopefully I'm on the right microphone. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so I hope everyone's got their Perry Mason hats on because I kind of wanted to explain what this case is about, really, or the crux of the case, because people keep talking about fair use, and no, I just do videos under fair use. Tim doesn't understand what fair use is, but this case has nothing to do per se with fair use. It's to do with Tim and his conspiracy with Chris Google Maps to take down my channel. And a lot of people might think that seems fair, that Sarasota Tim was within his rights to perjure himself multiple times with YouTube's copyright removal system and continue to systematically harass my channel, Atomic Sage, Darling, Lolive Oil, Dino. I mean, the list, I mean, I can't even, there's been so many that Buckeye Gordon, he tried to go after Zachary Michael. Anybody, sorry, I'm plugging my computer in, I apologize. I don't want it to die. Shoot. Sorry about that. So professional. So professional. That's why people love to make commentary, because I'm so professional. Make sure to hit the likes, guys, coming in. Because, like I said, get your Perry Mason's hats on this evening, okay? Because I want to try to succinctly explain. It didn't work, but we'll take care of it. Okay, thank you. I thought I did, but maybe not. Yeah, well, thank you. Junebug and Roscoe are having a good time on the floor. So every like that you make is a like to help my dogs, because people love that I have a channel supporting my dogs. But I do. I love it. I hope you're all having a good day wherever you are in the world. Many of us here in the United States put the clocks forward early this morning. Luckily, that kind of happens on a Sunday, so it doesn't, but for many, maybe it affects going to church. For me, it affected, my trying to get up for work. So that was fun. And I hope everybody had a great day. And it's a beautiful Sunday, and I hope everyone's having a good time. All right, let me get down the cheesy banner here. I'm trying to get all this stuff. Okay, like and subscribe, guys. Hit the likes as you come in. Okay, so trying to explain everything. So back on December the 9th, and those who are in the members only have heard a lot about this, but I did want to show specific Virginia code and law, because there's a lot of people who just think this is a meritless case. This is about me trying to recuperate a few dollars of YouTube ad revenue, which is not even something I'm including in this case. The only point of my YouTube monetization being important is the fact that I am a business, and for an entire year I had a monetized channel unaffected by Tim's copyright strikes, which he did not do legally. People need to understand, if you're going to go into a copyright removal and actually do a copyright takedown and strike a channel is allowed to come back and do a counter notification in order to say, hey, look, I'm doing this under fair use. I'm making commentary, because commentary channels and people exposing, especially people who are doing kind of devious stuff and not being honest, like Tim, because Tim was never honest in my estimation. And I think he admitted it recently that his Social Security video, he watched somebody else and literally regurgitated it without even crediting the creator that he gathered that information from. And that's really not cool, And that, along with his EIDL loans, and obviously trying to, use monies that he gained from the government, because he did, we have evidence, in order to enrich himself and then present that lifestyle on a social media platform. It's just not cool, We really shouldn't be encouraging, this is just my opinion, and a lot of people can disagree with me, and that's fine. But in my opinion, we shouldn't be, just letting carte blanche these people go out. And if they are, then they should be expected to have people want to make commentary and criticize them. And if they do, then they shouldn't try to conspire with somebody else to take somebody out and somebody down. And they took down a couple of channels. And when it came to me, I don't have family. I, really think that these types of folks, we need to really, it's going to get worse and it's going to get involving with AI. I understand some poor lady's channel was hacked into, and you've got to be so careful. And it made me think, shoot, I'm taking my email address. I'm sorry, my email address is off my site, because that's a way that they get in. They send you, often, I think maybe ways that the computers can be hacked is they'll come in acting like there's somebody offering you an item to review, and they may ask you to click onto a link in order to, get something for your channel. And if this is just my guessing, because usually they're going to get you some way, like through a WhatsApp or somehow getting a link in order to enter your computer, to enter your hard drive, and be able to access all your accounts and find out through your computer what you're linked into. Because just from an email address, it's not going to get you into your Google AdSense and stuff. Google's got a lot more layers to that than that. So anyway, are you going to take his trailer? I don't know. Depends on how much cash he got. I certainly could garnish it if he's not willing to pay up. He's got 30 days. So anyway, I'm gonna show to you what my case is and explain it, because I think it's been difficult, because people have, sort of talked about, fair use. And the reason why people talk about fair use is when I counter notified Sarasota Tim about taking copyrighted material down, which he has no copyrighted material. Just because you post something on YouTube and you have your name, people are allowed to make creative commentary around it. And like I said, a lot of people just don't want to give their personal details because these are legal documents you start to sign. So when Tim put in for copyright removal, he said, in 10 days, I am taking Ray, Life and Vibe to court about copyright, or I've been in process with an attorney about copyright. And that's that DMCA and everything that people talk about. And Tim never did that. And so I always countered and said, nope, everything I did was under fair use. And the first 3 videos of mine that he struck starting in December of 2024, it was like December the 19th, something like that, of 2024, he struck like 3 of my videos at one time. And, obviously as a small creator, I got 2 strikes and kind of got saved. And I sent in kind of my own script for fair use and waited and was nervous and took a bunch of my stuff down and so forth. And a lot of my stuff is about calling out people being scammers and not good people. A lot of people might like Sarasota Tim, but I personally feel that he is not somebody that, it's worthy of people to know that he took a friend's golf clubs, or he stiffed this person over here when his wife got sick, or that he, seems to take advantage of subscribers when he's out of town, that he has government money, that, and people could say that my buy me a coffees, I put that there just to troll Sarasota Tim, and it seems to troll everybody in the community. So I leave it there. I'll just troll everybody. I don't care. It's a troll. It's always been a troll. It's never not been a troll. People do donate to it. It has been helpful when I've had to go to legal, because these things get expensive and there are so many bullies on the internet. And Sarasota Tim kind of is a bully when it comes to commentary channels. He bullied a lot of people. And so people become nervous. They become scared. Any small creator then about showing somebody's video or making commentary around somebody because they don't want to get a copyright removal. And the people are literally perjuring themselves. So I countered. And then after that, at the start of March of 2025, I actually then hired a very good, what they call white shoe law firm called William Mullins. in Virginia. It's the second largest law firm here. Very well known, very well respected. So when I go to court on April 10th, the judge in my case, and I'm keeping it small claims because I'm going what they call pro se, which means I'm representing myself, isn't a lot of costs involved. I don't have to have like attorneys, though in this situation, I actually could get a reasonable amount of attorney fees returned to me. But my attorney had already told me to start a case, which she told me I had a very good case, would be like $10,000 on the offset. And I was like, I don't want to get into the expense and the largesse of a very long legal battle. And I just don't think Tim could even take that on himself. And so the best solution, because of how Chris, Google Maps, and Tim work together, and we've got plenty of evidence that we're about to go over this evening, work together to conspire to cause harm to my channel and also to other channels. We're going to look at some of the evidence real brief tonight. And then we're going to talk about first, before we look at the videos, because this is where Tim starts to hang himself always, which is excellent. Hey, I'm sorry if I'm talking my best life in her life. Yes, he does it. Well, he just talks about his RV to write it off in his taxes. He doesn't want to just claim 500 for office. He wants to claim full taxes. So let me share this. So it's not just me talking. So like I said, you got to get your Perry Mason hats on tonight, guys, because this is some legality stuff. And I actually, like I said, I am what is known as a pro se attorney at this point. Though in this case, I could get reasonable attorney fees. And so I'm going to take the comments down so people can actually see. Let me see. I can move it up here because these codes are the essential parts. So people always want to know about jurisdiction. And so I set forth a warrant in debt for Tim for the amount of $5,000 because that's what the cap is in small claims in Virginia. But because this case is changing, it's probably going to go slightly over $5,000. But then, and we're going to get into why it becomes threefold in the ability, because what Tim didn't realize is when he targeted me in the Commonwealth in Virginia, and they have very stringent laws about what he and Chris Google Maps tried to do to my business. And I'm able to prove this is a business because the previous year, I did file my YouTube income on my taxes. And for this year, it will show as a loss because of obviously my having to use that income to cover for these very expensive attorneys in order to try to notify YouTube about Tim and Chris's actions on this platform. And we shouldn't, and this is a grown man in his 60s. And the ugly, evil things that he did, also with Hilton Tom towards Grandma's pocketbook, she can tell you about that. And I think that, Tim has had lots of videos about haters, but I promise you, the courts in Virginia look very poorly on somebody who is whistleblowing financial fraud. And so for Tim to systematically try to take down my channel when most of what I do is try to talk about his government fraud, the potential that he's had to put more about includes paid promotion recently, if you've noticed on his videos, because he's, probably aware that maybe he'll be looked at soon. And so when I submitted my papers to Tim, and he's been served, as we know, it is serious stuff because people shouldn't tolerate. And we're going to hear a video that Chris Google Maps put up. It's been captured by Squirrel Bait Parodies. Obviously, the voice got changed and Chris has since taken it down. But I have lots of different other evidence of Chris and Chris's messages and Chris having reached out to me since then. And Chris is not the one I'm taking to court. Tim is the one with the business. Tim is the one who tried to harm and take my business down. And this is a legitimate business as much as it is for Lark and everybody else. These types of bullies who should not be tolerated. And as much as people think it's, it's Tim and this, that, he's really not a good guy. I mean, I think we've tried to say it so much. And the fact that he's just doubling down on his Christian cosplay and his Christian magical thinking is hilarious to me. Okay, let me not get too boring. But like I said, this is kind of, we'll get to some Tim stuff in a second so I can break it up and make it a little bit more interesting. Because the legality is really important here. So when Tim started striking my channel, I then obviously hired this very good attorney's firm in Virginia because there's not many people who specialize. This is just for this. This is what I'm getting damages for because of the harm that Tim and his conspirator, Chris Google Maps, were doing to my channel. I ended up, because he struck me again in February. It's like it was a lot. I ended up at that point. It took me quite some time finding this law firm to do proper counter notifications because I knew Tim wasn't going to stop, and I needed to get this all correctly documented, and also make sure that we could get a cease and desist and start getting some type of paper trail here of his working and brigading. And it was all clearly put in the cease and desist that Tim received last April. And I think we sent him another copy of the cease and desist that following August of 25. And then we notified YouTube also of his behaviors, and which they are impossible to get anything done. And a lot of people can attest to that. Especially so even a big firm like mine, which is like ranked in the top 200 in the country, couldn't even get through Google's AI system. So that's how hard it is to reach these people. So if any other creator feels very frustrated about trying to reach YouTube, they are very hard to reach. Okay, not even with good attorneys, they couldn't even. They've like just cut everybody off. It's like a fortress. So they just kept being very persistent. I mean, to the point where Tim was threatening to come to Virginia Beach, where I was being told by Chris Google Maps that I would be taken out and down. These things aren't really funny, guys. I mean, we have a laugh. Thank you to 1 million views. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is just like, this is this good Christian guy. This is this good Christian guy. Okay. So we're going to watch his Chris Google Maps video in a second. And then we're going to listen from Chris Google Maps himself. And then we're going to look at how I'm going to get 3 times the damages because Tim worked with Chris Google Maps. And my attorney has documented this all. And it's very important to understand that having this very good attorney's firm represent me and take on my case from last year, and Tim is still ignoring and avoiding. And then when he finally got sent a warrant and debt, he wanted the whole thing just dismissed, and he doesn't even understand why he's going to court. And it's nothing to do with fair use. That's if you try to take me, Tim, to copyright, I would tell them then it's under fair use. It's got nothing to do with that. My videos were fair use. So obviously I was able to get an attorney who represented me on that matter, but I would have never needed to have hired a specialized attorney if it wasn't for Tim and his repeated attacks on my channel, which he did illegally every time. When you sign off, YouTube is not an attorney or a legal representative of any creator on this platform. They wipe their hands of it, and it's up to you to get legal counsel at that point, which Tim never did. And he did this like, I don't even know how many times. I got to count the videos. It's 7 and above times he perjured himself. Technically, I mean, he did. I mean, it literally says, if you do this and you're not doing this, you perjured yourself. So that's, but he just felt like he could keep doing it. He felt justified. So in the Commonwealth of Virginia, because of this, I can take him for all the cost of these attorney's fees because because it was a business, my business, and I had to hire these specialized attorneys. This isn't about personal, okay? Even though we're going to talk about personal jurisdiction in a minute, it's about I am a monetized YouTube business with an AdSense account who gets money every month from YouTube, and Tim is a monetized YouTube channel, and he is a business, and his business conspired with somebody to take my business out. And I obviously have, obviously all the attorneys, the cease and desist, all the things that he's been told, and he still never stopped. And so at this point, I'm said to myself, I'm going to get the return of all of these attorney's fees because I literally lost all my YouTube profit because of his actions, which he's just a big fat bully. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say fat, but this is a lot. And he conspired with Chris Google Maps and probably some other people, but he's the one we've got the most evidence on, and which my attorneys have recorded it, that we can show that Tim was conspiring. And because he's conspiring, and because it's my business in Virginia, that means I get to go for threefold the damages and plus costs or plus interest. So interest on threefold. So whatever it is, it's going to be probably around $5,000, which would make it $15,000 plus 6% interest, which is Virginia standard, from the first time he struck my channel, which is December the 19th of 2024. So that's going to be well over $1,000 in interest alone on that treble damages. And I have so much evidence of he and Chris and his willful conspiracy and the way he spoke about it openly on his channel, how Chris spoke about it, all of this brigading. This is why Tim is going to court. Because I had to get specialized attorneys to protect myself. We used it through copyright, but we also did cease and desists, and we notified YouTube of Tim's behaviors. And it was impossible. And so Tim just kept continuing, and he struck Buckeye Gordon. Hey, Sammy, come on in. So, yeah. Yeah, he's a magical Christian, all right. Yeah. He's going to hit. Yeah. And he's such a good Christian too, and obviously God maybe not working through Tim, but this is actually true. It doesn't matter doesn't matter if Chris Google Maps apologized. Doesn't stop the fact that Chris Google Maps conspired with Tim. Chris Google Maps is not the one going to court, but because Tim worked in conspiracy with Chris Google Maps, it allows me to go to a different add-on to this Virginia statute to get treble the award, because it's a very distinct thing. And because my YouTube channel is not a hobby, it's a monetized business of which I pay taxes on. And Schedule C. You'd rather see ST walk the Ringling tightrope? Okay. So it doesn't matter about his apology, Anna. I don't care. Apologize all they want. It's not going to stop me from taking Tim to court or getting treble the award. So thank you. Yeah, hit the likes for me. I appreciate it, Sammy. So it says very clearly here, and this is where just to get the personal jurisdiction. So Tim is a non-resident here in Virginia. And so when I served the affidavit, I served him as a non-resident of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and Virginia Code 8.01-328.1A. And then I have to select a very specific subsection here, applies, and then that's the one I use. Now, I have to make an amendment at the court, and I need to make an amendment anyway because I need to change the amount of damages we're now seeking because of this conspiracy. So I've got to do some stuff on Thursday at the courthouse. And so I'm going to make sure I clarify the personal jurisdiction. So It says when personal jurisdiction over the person may be exercised. And this is where I'm at, this subsection 4, which is causing tortious injury in this Commonwealth by act or omission outside this Commonwealth if engages in any persistent course of conduct. And the persistent course of conduct has been the multiple copyright removals, resulting also in my strikes and other things, my videos being removed until obviously the matter was settled, and then my videos being restored, therefore me losing my monetization. Not worried about the pennies on that. Like I said, I'm not even calculating that. I have so much that I have with the attorney fees, plus the private process server who served him recently, and probably why he looks so jumpy every time something goes past his doors. That it's probably slightly over 5,000 actually. So I don't have to cap at 5,000 as a business. I get to go up a little higher. They can go up to 50 grand in this court on these charges. Once you get out of the sort of like the fact that we, and obviously I have 1099 miscellaneouses and my tax filings from 2024. To show that obviously I filed my YouTube money anyway, and my buy me a coffee and all that stuff. So yes, I pay taxes on buy me a coffee too. So all of that stuff I include. Okay, so that's where he's going to be. That's where it is for, and this persistent course of conduct. Okay, so that's some of the legal. Oh, the stuff at the bridge was absolutely wild. And that was before he found out I could get him on treble charges. I don't care for him. No, I don't like him at all. That's Stewie. That's Beef Stew. He is not my friend. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't talk about that dude. That's it. There's a lot of people in here that are not necessarily my, on my, yeah, it's always a good question. And I don't, I don't want to have it. My comment section does not need to be a hug box. Okay. Plenty of people who don't care for me, and that's okay. But you know what? The thing about me is I don't like bullies. And what Tim, and you're going to listen to some of this stuff. And if you, unfortunately, Lolive Oil's channel's down, but the ugly messages that she received, and these are men attacking women. Okay, that's where it gets real ugly. And so I don't think the judge is going to look very kindly on Tim. Tim is not going to be able to do a Zoom call. He has talked openly about traveling, and he's going to have no hardship. I have plenty of proof of all of his recent items that he sold on Facebook. I've got all the photos and information. Just his UCC filing, the EIDL, that piece of paperwork I show all the time is a business lien. So technically, Tim's supposed to have all these assets in business. So, and he's a business. So guess who gets to show his UCC filing into the courtroom? Well, I included it to show that Tim supposedly has all these assets that I can garnish. And since Tim is not an LLC at all, it's too late now, Tim. I get to garnish him because he's not protected any of his business assets because he's not an LLC. He's not, Sarasota Tim LLC. So he has no protection to his assets if he were to be sued. If his business were to be sued, he gets garnished on whatever can be garnished. But technically, he just sold that motorbike. So he should have cash in his bank account. And if not, well, we can garnish that. We can get the sheriffs over and sell the Flagstaff. We can garnish his YouTube income. All of it. All of it. All of it. I can garnish that reflective refrigerator. Absolutely. And sell it in an auction. However we need to get the money. He's got 30 days to pay. And this is an airtight case at this point. Just because of this. All right, let's go over and watch Tim talk about Chris Google Maps. Then we're going to hear what Chris Google Maps had to say. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to, because of all of this, I'll get treble the thing. And make sure to hit the likes coming in because that helps me with the channel, guys. And I appreciate this. All right, Tim, I don't think I have you shared yet. Hold on. I don't think I have you shared. Hold on. I got to make sure I'm sharing you. I'm not sharing you, Tim. All right. Sorry, that's the wrong thing. Oh, I'm already on. Hold on. Oh, all right. Sorry. I'm so used to using screenshots. I didn't realize the Virginia code was on a real screen. And as you can see, I actually was accessing the code of Virginia. So this isn't something I got from Grok. This isn't from AI. This is literal legal code in Virginia. And Tim wasn't very smart when he hit me because Virginia is one of the few states that because of what he and old Chris Google Maps did. So now if he takes this down, it's going to be documented on our channel today. So I'm going to play him at regular speed, guys. Sorry, it's legal. At this point, I'm documenting evidence. So you're all witnesses, okay? Literally. So hit some likes or some scales of justice in the chat because we're literally witnessing. This was and I was making content about Tim at this time. This was August the 26th, 2024. And it's called Watch Chris Google Maps YouTube channel about exposing those haters. Now, I'm going to say, I think Chris does some bad language. Now, Chris has obviously taken that channel down, but somebody captured it at the time. And so that was Squirrel Bait Parodies. Thank you, Squirrel Bait Parodies. We will credit you for that. We'll play that in a moment. And so we get to hear that. And then obviously, I can't access the screenshots super easily, but I'll try to see if I can read it. I read it in the members only. The comments that Chris Google Maps left me, Angel Mission left messages to Tim telling him he should strike other people. But it's really because Tim and this person, you just have to prove that they're working with one other person. And this is the person who's also mentioned in my attorney's cease and desist and information to YouTube. So this is the channel. And so this is where it gets to these treble, threefold, and just gets into a much bigger award. And it is part of where this case of this persistent conduct and this willful conspiracy comes into play, which is very important in this case. And it's so that, see, it's very, and you'll hear Chris Google Maps laughing about fair use and stuff. But like I said, if I'm talking about Tim's financial stuff and whistleblowing about, and showing public documents like UCC filings, he should not be striking me. And Virginia courts don't like that. So they're not going to be on Tim's side. They're going to think he's being arse. As much as people don't think I should play his videos and all these guys who don't think I should do it, promise you, courts don't care. And I'm sorry if I seem like a, stuck up about it or whatever, but, I'm doing this by myself and had very expensive attorneys, and I have the right to recuperate my $5,000 plus damages, which puts me at 15 plus interest, which puts me at over $16,000. And yes, Tim is garnishable. And yes, I can get a writ of garnishment to Florida. And he can keep rolling around, but unless he wants to close his YouTube channel or his bank accounts down, I can garnish all of it. So it's and people are like, oh, she just thinks it's cut and dry. Pretty much, because Tim doesn't know how to defend himself. And I have a lot of evidence, including this. This is just part of it. All my YouTube strikes, all of the restoration of the videos, all of it. I mean, emails sent from another creator to ask me if getting flooded by emails was normal. People who are going to do affidavits for me, sworn affidavits about his malicious actions, notarized. I'm not going to say who unless they want to say it themselves, but There are people, plenty of people in this community who had this guy be totally an ass, and he's not allowed to do it. And so many creators who get subjected to this treatment, not just in this community, but in other communities. And often when you're calling out con artists, and they don't like it when you're messing in their game, and they'll do Tim's a nasty dude. You really have to understand. Anybody who's personally gotten to know Tim knows he's a nasty dude.
Everybody, Sarasota, Tim, coming to you from Nathan Benderson Park. I'm making a lot of videos here this morning. This is going to be a very short one, and something, I don't know if I even should post it. Okay, I'm just going to make it quick.
I still have to prove to the judge I have a case. I can't just come in and expect money, because that would be not fair. So the judge has to, I have to have everything to a gold standard. For example, I already have an affidavit of service from a process server where Tim has mentioned he is not currently in the military. That is very important for something like this in Virginia. I mean, this is serious levels of damage. And because Tim, and there are many others, like I said, who feel that they can abuse YouTube's copyright system when he has actually no actual copyright on any of his material. When he posts this material on this website, he is under standard attributions, and we are able to make commentary. As long as we're making commentary, it's fair. If I just put this video up, no commentary, then no, we could get me for copyright. But when I'm showing stuff and calling him out, then it's a whole different matter. It's just a different matter. And yes, live streams are long, and that's streaming. Have you seen how long some of these guy streamers go, and podcasters? They go for 3-4 hours a day, and people get at me for 2. Seriously, it's a level of misogyny, I tell you.
I'm gonna a sharp knife cuts the quickest, least painful, right? All right, I'm Sarasota Tim, and if you Google Sarasota,
I don't know.
Before you
find
finish,
out from the IRS.
I come up, and guess what else comes up? A bunch of weirdos. Some that are so weird and so desperate and so pathetic that I decided a long time ago that I would not even.
I think I would make a better politician than Tim.
Know the names of them, much less watch them. Now, I know some of my community has written in comments, oh, I got something in my feed that came up that I thought was you, but it was this other person. They were saying these horrible things about you. Yes, I know. I've heard it 100 times. And I know a lot of my community that love me, they just can't help themselves from giving them some clicks and curious as to what disparaging, hateful things they got to say. But in the time that all of that has been growing, and the $1 million question is why? No clue. God strike me dead.
It's because you committed financial fraud on the U.S. taxpayer. You showed yourself naked in a refrigerator. You misled your audience into thinking that your success of your retirement was based on your hard work and saving, when in fact it was you just enriching yourself with taxpayer money during the Panini time. You based a video on your Social Security, probably regurgitating somebody else. It just went viral, but you never credit anybody. And most of what you do on here is copying other people's shtick. And I'm a commentary channel. So what I do on this channel is a very different type of content than what this guy does on YouTube. People come here for the commentary. And the commentary that I make also includes calling out people I think are shysters on the internet. And I've had a history before Tim of doing that, whether it was about people selling sham ideas around health, lying about how to manage their diabetes, type 2, or people like Tim who were taking advantage of a more vulnerable population, generally our seniors. And so it got me more intrigued and I got more involved. And because I started to see kind of what a just not kind of nice guy. You can just kind of tell when somebody's kind of using their charisma to try to win people over in order to get something from them to their benefit. Tim doesn't want to work hard. So he found a way with this YouTube to get easy money. But Tim's always probably, been doing some dodgy things. That's where you use the word dodgy, Tim. So I started to notice and checking in and looking into his financial stuff and seeing all that government money and things he should not have been eligible to take. I mean, I don't know where he thought he was. Maybe he misunderstood, but that's where you talk to an accountant before you sign off on that stuff, Tim. I mean, you're still, even if you didn't understand what you were signing, you're still going to owe restitution at the most if they get you. But at least this way, you can't continue to bully every creator on this. I would have loved to move on from you, Tim, and start talking about somebody else. And I'm going to start introducing some other people. And we'll see how the audience reacts. But Tim, you've been so feisty towards me personally that it's been a battle. And I don't like bullies. And Tim, with Chris Google Maps, they're bullies.
Unless they were to come to me and show me who they are, I couldn't tell you who they are and why they're doing what they're doing. Other than they figured out some kind of a niche of how to make money on YouTube by stealing a successful YouTuber's name, video clips, and the like to get their own views. And we all know that dirty laundry, people like it because that's why they got those shows on.
Oh, yeah, because you got a lot of dirty laundry in the past. And when you become an internet locale, Tim, it just kind of happens. It's just, when you start putting out a lot of your personal stuff on the internet, you're going to anticipate there will be commentary channels making commentary. And I would like to try to show commentary channels, a lot of who get struck down and annihilated by creators like Sarasota Tim, because he doesn't like criticism. I promise you, there's plenty of people using my image and saying all sorts of stuff about me at the moment. I'm not going to get my knickers in a twist. It's going to come with the territory. If he didn't have a thick enough skin to deal with that, shouldn't be out on the internet. And the way not to deal with it was the way he very unprofessionally dealt with it. And unfortunately for Tim, I dealt with it in a professional manner because I do want to try to keep my channel. I do believe that, people may or may not like me, but I feel that I should, be able to grow a community with people who do genuinely care, that they don't want to just be, ripped off by some AI. It's going to get wild out here, guys. And there's going to be a lot of people, wanting stuff. And obviously, yeah, do I have a buy me and coffee and stuff? Yeah, it's a streamer thing. I could put a Patreon, just as Tim say. But he's not a streamer. I'm a streamer. Tim doesn't stream. Tim never streams. He's just a guy who puts out vlogs and does reviews. And that's, it's a whole nother story. But all right, I'm going to let him keep talking.
TV like Housewives and Fox News and CNN and all that garbage. So I'm making this video because I just received a text from a subscriber of mine that's also a friend, and they discovered a video that came up that, unlike those other ones, those nasty ones, was and there's been a few.
Yeah, and I'm the nasty. He's definitely, I've been his most favorite to target. Tim thinks he's God's gift to women. He's tried to imply so many times I'm sort of jilted woman. I don't have to. Promise you. Dating is like the last thing I'm interested in. Thank you, Bertie. He says, we support Ray. Tim is not up for this fight. No. And I'm sure you saw that wonderful motion to dismiss. He doesn't understand that this is the stuff I'm taking him to court for. I had to get the attorneys because he worked in conspiracy with Chris Google Maps to try to strike and copyright strike and flag and, email flood and a bunch of stuff to people. So, yeah, So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you. That will get me a lovely breakfast after my court case. Like I said, I'm already off work, so that's good. It's a Friday too.
That have come to my defense and say, hey, what's wrong with you people? Why are you doing this or that? Next thing you know, they're like vultures. They like attack them. You know, I mean, they just like have a search set on their computer or something. And if the word Sarasota, not even Sarasota Tim, comes up, they click on it. If it's anything to do with me or my community, they attack. It's just, but it hasn't.
And if Tim had true copyright on his material, he could have taken correct legal action against any of us here. But it's not. When you're out here putting your stuff out on YouTube, unless you're like a big music person, because he's always like copyright. Yeah, because that's music, Tim. They definitely have solid copyright. And any of the TV shows or big shows or anything like that, they have solid copyright too. Most YouTubers who put stuff out like you are not copywriting your material. So that YouTube copyright system that you seem to think is your legal friend is not, Tim. That was your showing that you were abusing their system repeatedly to try to get rid of people that just made commentary around you, especially around your financial stuff and things. And, you know, it didn't matter. But, you know, specifically, they're not going to like the fact that I talked about your EIDL and that you were striking me down. Because that's, you know, it's just not, the courts don't like that stuff, Tim. And if you had an issue with me in copyright, that's where you take me to the DMCA. That's what you don't understand. You think I need to take you to, no, this isn't about copyright. I don't care about your copyright. I'm not going to court for fair use. I'm already under fair use. That's it. YouTube's already accepted that in my counter notifications, Tim, which I've sent through a legal process, which I would stand on legally. You're the one who did your part. You just don't understand stuff. And I just don't think that not understanding stuff after a while is going to be a good defense.
Affected me, and I'm the one. But a lot of these people have had people attack them.
Oh, yeah, the stolen valor.
Sleuth them and threaten them. And we all remember my good friend that was going to do the golfing thing.
I got upset that
he was intimidated by these losers. He had no cause. They couldn't do anything. They can't do anything. They're not doing anything. They're just screaming and running their mouths and looking.
No, we can do things. We can hire really good specialized attorneys to send you cease and desists and ask you repeatedly to stop your actions. And then I sent you a demand letter because we told you we were going to report you to YouTube if you continued. We reported it. YouTube doesn't do much. They don't like to get in the middle of this stuff. That's what Tim doesn't understand. YouTube's not your attorney. I can't have to explain that to people because people think it really, no, they're not. And you have now found yourself in a court case. And because you and Chris clearly work together, I get treble damages now, threefold, because I have a ton of strikes and stuff and legal notices you were sent. This is, you know, this is the next step, Tim. So who's crushing it now?
For clicks, hiding in their basements. Most of them are senior citizen drug addicts with mental cases on serious medication. There's really no hope for them. They're long gone. Their souls are black. They're demons. They're evil. They're the worst of the worst.
Really?
And I can say all that, not because I'm trying to hate.
Really, Tim? Was this before? Yeah, this was just before you scrubbed the comments. I hope Bev's doing great. It's obviously years since we had our fundraiser. Gosh, that's crazy. Since you scrubbed the comments, wishing all the best for Bev in her cancer journey and her, you know, recovery. You scrubbed all that stuff out. You said it like once and then it was done. And then you were, you know, You stole Johnny Vegas's golf clubs, Tim. I mean, you just did some really, and and then you called everybody else a turncoat. But I think it's you, sir, who does not know how to interact with people. And Teddy and Jolene, guessing they've get something out of it, or they just don't give you enough space, Tim, to get screwed by you. Pardon my French. But yeah, this is hilarious because this is evidence now. This video is literally going to go on a USB drive to the court.
On them because I don't watch them. But what I did witness and what I did hear months ago when this started was enough for me to be able to be definitive in my description of them as I just did. I'm sure if I were to want to destroy my mind and listen to them, hate on me and give me a complex and whatever, I could hate them even more if that's possible. But I don't. I do not watch. They do not come up in my feed. I've told everybody how to hit the 3 dots and say, not remove, but do not recommend this channel. And you'll never see them again.
Well, this is an old video. This is part of my evidence that he and Chris conspired together to try to take me down, and not just me, because obviously I wasn't the only one, but in the respect of my particular case. And I will bring evidence of their working together, having brought another channel down and so forth. So obviously to show that this is a pattern of their behavior, not just towards me, but towards other creators with monetized platforms. So this is like, we have businesses here, as much as people like to laugh and joke and stuff. These are businesses that take time to grow on YouTube. And we hope that we have little, I mean, nobody expects it to replace their income, but it's something that, creators do. So it's like, that's not unusual. It's just unusual. Sometimes, it's kind of new, especially I think for our generation. But for the younger generation, they've been doing this for a long time. I think it's just because our older generation tended to listen to podcasts. Whereas now, I think we're getting more understanding, like participating in live streams and, having community that way. I think it's just, in different ways. But I think it's, starting to more with our generation probably. And so I think there's a little misunderstanding about what streaming is sometimes.
So I'm making this video, not because I want to talk about them, because they're getting to me. It's because of what was sent to me. Another great, beautiful soul out there that's just had his fill with them decided to make a video. His channel is Chris Google Maps. Chris Google Maps. And he's only got a couple subscribers. He's only got a couple of videos up. And apparently he wrote something or went on one of their things and commented, and they started attacking him and all that. And he's just one of these guys who's going to fight back, I guess. So he made a video.
Thank you, Thomas.
And one of my subscribers found it on YouTube and sent me the link, of which I just watched.
Yeah, and I never struck Chris Google Maps. And you'll hear that something that he says about me in Blind Views. But I just, I don't have time for all that. Reported Tim for medical misinformation. That's been my extent.
Letting me know that it was something, positive, if you want to call it that. It wasn't like, here's one of them hater videos, watch it. I'm like, no, I would delete it. I wouldn't even click on it. And most people know that, and no one ever sends me anything.
Well, have fun with that. I know it's going to be earlier start, so get some rest, because everyone, is going to be still a little bit out of it tomorrow, Monday. So just be cautious on the roads. And thank you for joining us. Have a good one. Yeah, I know it's hard to think. I need to. We won't be too late, but this is interesting to always hear vintage Tim.
Anything like that. Most people know I don't want to talk about it. It's not in my mind. It's not Fox News, CNN, hater channels, negativity, crap. I don't entertain it. I eschew it. And guess what? When I do that, guess what I have? Guess what I got? A life free of brain damage, a life of living fun.
Yep.
I'm living my life. I'm doing what I want to do.
I say he does.
And believe me, I'm not like complacent. I've got things filed. I've reported certain things with law enforcement. I've contacted legal. I've contacted Google. I have my.
Kim, what legal? Because I've seen your legal work, Tim. And what part of Google? Because I had a top tier law firm reach out to Google. Impossible. YouTube. It's in the bill line somewhere. I promise you, just this firm alone, and it's me letting them know that this firm took my case on to protect me in copyright disputes with Sarasota Tim is going to be very important, because it already shows that I took this matter very seriously, which I did, and he just continued with this, which now is because he continued with his actions right up until this year. That was the thing that helped me seal the case. So now it's time to go for it.
My own self-protection. I have cameras. I have all the things that anybody that's kind of popular that would be prudent to do. I just can't.
Well, I also have a comment that Chris Google Maps left in my channel, and I was able to screenshot that and get it to my attorney. And it talked about my fair use and taking me down and stuff. And so it's been recorded by my attorney as a serious issue. And they talked about in my cease and desist all about the brigading and so forth. So, which is like people working together online to, cause harm to people and so forth. Now, I have never said to go in I would never want anybody in this channel to go and leave Sarasota Tim a nasty comment in his comment section. I would never say to do that. I would never say to go leave a nasty comment in anybody's comment section. Now, I might say I don't like another creator, but I would never want to say to anybody in this audience to go and harass that creator. Like I said, I got plenty of people saying stuff, using my images, doing things. I just let it go. This is just unless I want to get into a situation, where what am I striking people's channel? Then they, for what at what cost? This is where I kind of say, no, I'm handling this the best way I can. Luckily, they doxed my address. I've had all sorts of things. I've had this guy threaten to come to Virginia Beach. It's not cool. You can't bully people. It doesn't matter if I'm particularly, I don't care what sex I am, but knowing that it's two guys bullying onto a woman, that's even creepier, man. And the fact that Sarasota Tim's not thick-skinned enough to take criticism. Yeah, nobody likes to be criticized. People cause me all sorts of stuff out there. I get all sorts of nasty criticism. Probably because I've, got half a brain and can figure this out on my own.
I walk around, making these videos, my popularity growing everywhere I go. I meet people everywhere I go. I meet people, and never once have I run across some idiot that has confronted me.
We had a community here that said, "Yeah, don't watch Sarasota Tim for a week or whatever." But it's always people's choice. I would never tell people to go and write nasty comments or I really have always been like somewhat worried about participating. There were some times that people were wanting to do this a lot, and I didn't participate always. And then people were like a little bit, because it seems like you then are brigading against somebody, and that can get you in trouble. And so I've always been trying, to be fair, because I do want the internet to be fun. And, I don't want people getting conned, and people can call me a con artist, but at least I feel like I work for my money. There's plenty of creators that do. Work hard, that is. Not Tim.
And
Tim lazy.
If they do, they do. But I'll handle that when that happens. But so far, I just meet nothing but wonderful, wonderful people.
Oh, well, don't
say, hey, I watch your videos, and thank you very much. I watched the Social Security thing, or I watch you Crushing It for Christ, or keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, we're gonna check out one of those that he left the other day because he looked petrified. Now every time he sees a window, people are like, "This Christian cosplayer, man, he did the nastiest stuff." You'll hear Chris in a minute. Okay, we're gonna hear what Chris said.
You know, you're so positive and you're so
We'll check out with Tim today.
natural. You don't edit your videos. You're just a breath of fresh air. I like watching you because you just I like listening to your voice. I'll have my coffee in the morning. I'll put you on when I'm driving down the road. I mean, I've had everybody tell me this. I don't know what it is. Thank you very much. I'm glad I don't have to constantly. I mean, I want good content. I want to bring you entertainment and worthwhile, valuable things that can help you and share with you. But sometimes I'm just yammering, and yet people still like to watch. So I'm very, very blessed. And apparently, that just rubs some people the wrong way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
yeah, that's what rubbed me the wrong way, Tim. No, I think it was actually seeing your naked self in that mirror of that refrigerator. You were probably rubbing one the wrong way, but I certainly wasn't enjoying the view. And then I found out you took all this government money while you tell other people can't get stuff because of your political beliefs and stuff. Come on. You're just not a nice guy.
I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
But if you want to check out Chris Google Maps, he's got 4 videos up. And one of them is addressing that.
Oh.
You'll know it when you see it.
It's okay.
I won't even mention their name. He's only got 4. And it's only got a few views, so it might be new. I will warn you, there is some strong language there at the end of it. But if ever was there a need or a way to express
well,
the
hey, I'm
frustration
from Virginia. What do you
and the
think
opinion of these downtrodden people, that would warrant it. So go ahead and check out Chris Google Maps and get what I felt was the absolute heartfelt truth of what he said about me and about them and about himself. And I don't ever promote other channels or videos or products. Well, products I do that I review, but I mean, you know.
This must have been right after he had an eye surgery or something because he's all black-eyed under here. Yeah, careful with the term for Southerners here. It can be quite derogatory, Catherine. So just caution. Americans get sensitive. So, and I've used that term to describe my own city as the Riviera, because Virginia Beach is not the high-end tourist town, but it's derogatory. I'm just gonna be kind. I gotta be careful. It's fair all around.
I mean, I don't promote other YouTube channels and stuff unless I feel that I should, not just for doing it. So go ahead. He'll get a lot of views now from my recommendation. And
we're gonna let you off, Catherine, for being from New Zealand and not understanding the severity of that term. It's quite derogatory here. So if somebody gets called that, it's quite derogatory. People don't like to see, you'll hear people talk about it who are from there, but you always have to be careful if you're not. It's one of those. It's like kind of that way. I'm right here from Virginia Beach, but I can't talk about like I said, the nickname I give Virginia is like that Riviera. But I can't say that. That's not nice. That's what they call it.
Check it out. I watched it. I was kind of scared to click on it, but the subscriber that sent it to me assured me that there was some kind of legal thing that can be done that they did against someone else messing with them. But they can do it. The hypocrisy is over the charts. Go ahead and check it out and crush it.
Isn't this choice? I just love it. He always thought Tim looked like the devil. Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, my grandma, what does it mean? Oh, it's I would take a peek. See, I don't want to get into the depths of that conversation right the second. It's okay. So this was score. So obviously Chris Google Maps channel down, probably took this down. Squirrel Bait Parodies though did capture this and did one of their little parodies voices with it. So thank you, Squirrel Bait, for preserving this piece of history. We're long enough into the stream that I think I'm not going to get hit for the foul language. He does cuss at the end. He does swear. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can't say that. I promise you, Virginia Beach is up there. Well, yeah, but nobody likes to be called that. And a lot of people from the South, so it's just kind of, yeah, just cautious. It's like, I'm from the South, believe it or not. Believe it or not, I'm a Southerner. I was born right here in Portsmouth, Virginia, to a Southern family. My mama was from Virginia Beach, and my dad was from Washington, North Carolina, Beaufort County. So generations of Southern born. So Southern that, my percentage of English blood is absolutely probably higher than the majority of people in England. Like I'm like 96% English or something ridiculous. It's like really high for having two American parents. But just like nobody mixed around here on the East Coast back in the day when I was born. Anyway, so this I don't know who the face is, but we're gonna listen to what Chris had to say. And thank you, Squirrel Bait Parodies.
Favorite faceless creator, making the kind of videos that you people love. My channel with no subscribers, no views. But you know who does love watching my channel? All of you sad, pathetic Sarasota Tim haters. I am loving seeing some of you idiots get 3 copyright strikes.
Oh, this is perfect. And the thing is, I never watched his channel. I promise you, I don't look. I don't look for the negative stuff. I got way too much stuff going on. And if I did that, that's where people ruin their mental health. If everybody thinks that there is not going to be a negative comment or somebody who thought, oh, I thought they liked me. Oh, they're actually saying I'm kind of a bitch, and it's okay. It's like if you're going to come into social media, you're going to have very thick skin. And I have certainly learned over my lifetime, especially being a strong-minded female who's not really played by society's expectations of me. I should have been married with kids and a slew of grandkids and looking nice and being quiet. And I'm none of those things. I don't try to dress up too much. Certainly not quiet. I'm not demure. I don't know, obviously, where my place is because Tim thinks that I should respect my elders, But I do protect my mental health. And I never watched this. So when I was sent this the other day, I was like, oh, I didn't even know he said this stuff. So this is even better for my case. I already had had my attorney record that they were working together. But between this video and this from Chris, and then this is what's going to seal for the willful conspiracy and be able for these two guys laughing for me to get more money out of Tim. They're lucky I just don't care to make a huge big case because I know how stuff drags out in the US. And this is a quick way just to kind of, and Tim's the narcissist. He's not gonna know what to do.
Thanks. Love it. Freaking love it. You sad losers, wasting your lives, hating a man you don't even know. And I don't care about my channel, guys. I may put my videos up again. You can copyright strike them if you want. If this channel goes away, I don't care. I love,
Well, we know I did.
absolutely love laughing at you idiots. You get so worked.
I never got worked up. I just kept doing what I do. You know, obviously I would come on and make content around getting struck because, hey, it's YouTube. People love a drama. What can I say? People are here because it's fun and interesting. Give me a thumbs up if you think it is. You know, that's why people come here. You know, it's a little bit of escapism. And I've just heard so many people and creators over the years. I'm going to see this person. I'm going to see that person. This, that, and the other. And then these two guys just acted really like bags. And I just happened to decide to handle things properly, legally, kind of from day one. And, you know, it's all the people who want to laugh about me getting legal funds and this, that, and the other. Well, who laughing now? Our community. We're laughing because it's this community, because it's with your support also, as much as people don't like it, but it has been your support. It's enabled me to fight these bullies. All right, Chris, tell us how much you're laughing. And Chris has apologized to me. That's fine. But that's not going to stop this conspiracy case. Now, if Tim wants to go to Chris and get a portion of this paid by Chris, well, that's up to Tim. But it's all going to fall on Tim. So Chris doesn't have to worry. Chris just is shown in the conspiracy. But Chris is not the one being sued. That's Tim.
Up by my little channel. Anybody that supports Sarasota Tim, you guys just can't take it, can you? You pussies like barium exposure and Carl. You two are the biggest fucking cowards. You two block me from your channel and then you make videos talking shit on me. You know, Blind Views and Ray, Life and Vibe, at least they leave their comments open. Barium Exposure and Carl are fucking pussies.
Well, that's so you could hang yourself, Chris. And it worked. Thank you, Squirrel Bait, for capturing this.
Big time babies. You're all pathetic. I'm really, really, really looking forward to more of your channels going away. Because unlike you, I don't make a penny on this, and I don't care. And you all, you care way too much about a guy who impacts your life in no way. Actually, two people who don't.
No, he does, because he took taxpayer money, and that impacts everybody in the United States, especially when you start adding it all up. Are we all just to ignore it? That's what we've all been doing forever. And we're in a hole at the moment for ignoring people's bad behaviors. And I think that especially people like Tim calling himself a Christian and conspiring with somebody like Chris Google Maps to do the harm that they did on this platform, that's not to be tolerated. And if it means that, you know, I've built a strong legal case now to take Tim, I could take it for, like I said, this got so ugly. I technically could go for a much larger case, but they just get dragged out here in the United States. This is a quick, effective way for me to hit a narcissist like Sarasota Tim in a very quick, simple, easy way, and for a decent amount of money, because I'm not going to sneeze at $16,000. Will I have to pay taxes on it? Probably, but that's okay. I will. Probably could offset it with some YouTube losses.
Don't impact your life in any way. I don't impact your life, and neither does Sarasota Tim.
And I'm going to make sure that you know, Girlbait gets their thing.
Hey, everybody, it's your
sorry. So I just wanted to make sure we'll get to Tim, back to Tim, but yeah. So because of these two conspiring in this way, and I think it's very clear to see kind of what the two were doing, because Tim literally says, go listen to his video. What does Tim, and I have things about Chris saying, like I said, I can't bring it up, and it takes me sometimes time to figure my way through all the paperwork. But within my cease and desist. There is a copy of when Chris Google Maps was saying that he thought my fair use was hilarious, that he was going to take me out, and a bunch of stuff. And so these guys, this is the way that Tim was behaving. And so now I'm going to share this tab instead. There's two codes for it's 18.2-499, and then there's going to be another one. And this is the part of the that sort of like that conduct, that persistent conduct. Obviously, their persistent conduct was the number of times Tim went for copyright removals that were not really with any basis because he doesn't have any copyright. He wasn't taking legal action against me. So his listening to Chris Google Maps and then thinking just because they were hitting other people and people weren't countering as I did, didn't mean that they were within the right. It's just that I approached it a little differently because everyone knew who I was anyway, so I just didn't care. They went out and doxed themselves. And now, Tim's, number of people that were willing to come and, say nasty things in other creators' comment sections are not around because people can understand why would we not want to, embrace a con artist like Tim and giving terrible financial advice, terrible health advice. The way he just discusses health professionals and stuff, it's disgusting. I mean, it's just, we asked him to stop talking about topics around health too, because he's not licensed, and he ignored that as well. So, combination to injure others in their reputation, trade, business, or profession, rights of employees. Any two or more persons, Sarasota Tim, Chris Google Maps, who combine, associate, agree mutually, undertake a concert together for the purpose of willfully and maliciously injuring another in his reputation, which obviously, trade, business, or profession by any means, injuring my business through the copyrights that took my videos down. In the end, it caused me to have to hire specialized attorneys, which damaged my business because my business incurred a loss because of the cost of the attorneys, which Virginia doesn't like because that means I pay less taxes. Willfully and maliciously compelling another to do or perform any act against his will, or preventing or hindering another from doing or performing any lawful act, and so on and so forth. B, any person who attempts to procure participation, cooperation agreement, or any other assistance of any one or more persons to enter into any combination, association agreement, mutual understanding, or concert prohibited in subsection A of this section, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then it goes into employees. So all of this was happening with Tim, because when my videos get taken down and they say they're ineligible and I have copyright, that actually ruins my reputation. And my attorney very clearly pointed out all of this in all of my cease and desist and counter notifications and stuff. So, and then we can take a look at the next section here. This is the 18.2-500. This is the same civil relief damages and counsel fees. This is for the injunctions. So I think that I've built so far a very strong case with his, to recover the damages, which are the cost of my attorneys to protect my business, which is not a normal course of my business. And Tim did this obviously in concert with Chris Google Maps. And so even if Tim took this other video down, it's I have copied, this here now. So and then here, so this is why when people talk about it being about fair use, it's nothing to do with that. I just happen to have my content is under fair use, but this is about this is about the injury to my channel. And as much as people don't care, I do. So any person who shall be injured in his reputation, trade, business, and because I have miscellaneous and I file on this, This is not a hobby that he's come after. He's come after my business. And so Virginia treats it a very different way. Or profession by reason of a violation in the 18.2-499, which we just looked at, may sue therefore and recover threefold the damages. Wasn't smart to hit somebody in Virginia, Tim. By him sustained and the cost of suit, including a reasonable fee to plaintiff's counsel. And with that, and so if I wanted now to go ahead and get an attorney to help me go into small claims, like let me grab someone from William Mullins, to come in that day, I could. Reasonable fees and charge them right over to Tim. And I'm considering it to make sure that they airtight this case for me. Because now it's plaintiff's counsel. And without limiting the generality of the term damages shall include loss of profits, which I obviously lost profit because I had to pay for an attorney that pretty much ate my profit. And then obviously wherein a person shall duly file civil action in the circuit court of any county against any person alleging violations. Obviously I'm filed in the city of Virginia Beach and praying that such party defendant be restrained and enjoyed. And Tim's been notified. We'll see if they make us continue this case because of these added amendments, though I don't think so necessarily. Tim has been served. And if I did have to send another process server, it just gets added into this treble the thing, because I don't get capped at 5,000 the same way that I would, even though I'm going small claims. It's just business small claims. It's not personal. So my amounts get up much higher. So I am going in and I'm going to add these codes plus the 6% interest to my amended warrant and have the clerk sign off on that on Thursday. So that's done. And that's it. Thank you for my nicest. Why don't you show YouTube payment statements from before Tom stuck you and after, so you can see how much? It's not about that money I lost, sweetheart. The fact I was monetized is the only important fact, and I have 1099 miscellaneouses, and I filed it on my taxes. So it doesn't matter. The only part that matters is that these guys worked together to cause my copyright removals, causing me to have to get a specialized attorney, which are damages in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Maybe you should study up on the law before you just put random comments. Tiffany Schneider, never heard of you before. Put this toward your breakfast court victory. Well, thank you, Dirty Jersey 46 1999. And I mean, let's put it that way. My attorneys cost me what my profit was, and they weren't cheap. And I just told you about $15,000 of damages, so that should tell you. I think Tiffany must be Tim's daughter. Or daughter. I appreciate it, Dirty Jersey. I'm sorry. Some people just come in with some cojones sometimes. Or some huevos, as I say in Mexico. I promise you, if I ever started making a ton of money, I would tell you. But I think I've literally said the attorneys wiped my profit out. So that's all you have to say is wow. No, it's honest flowers. His daughter, that was your thought too, Stacy? Yeah. And it's nothing to do. I'm not even including my you know what? I can calculate that in here. I could sit there and look at the analytics of my videos that went down and, work out whatever a day and add it into the loss, but I can keep adding into it because I don't cap off at 5 anymore. So I just can't be bothered to calculate it. I have enough between the attorneys and the process server that served all this stuff to Tim because it was private, and they served the cease and desist along with his UCC filing, which shows that he's got, lienable assets and garnished assets to be garnished. And obviously, I don't hide anything. Yeah, I am transparent. As ugly as the comments can get, I don't care about the trolls. It just adds to my it just makes YouTube think I'm getting more engagement. And yeah, I mean, shoot, if I really started making some good money, then we force you to get an attorney. Yeah, I was forced to get an attorney to handle the cease and desist because I handled the original counter notifications myself. But when you have somebody who's abusing YouTube's terms of service and doesn't understand how the social media platform actually should be used correctly, you have to have specialized attorneys. And then guess what you get to do? You get to sue the person for it in court. And because they worked in concert with somebody else in the Commonwealth of Virginia, you get threefold the damages. And I get to haul his ass from Florida for Virginia too. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I do. Yeah, well, you know what? I like calling out con artists. And Tim is probably one of the biggest con artists I've encountered on this platform in a while. He's up there. Tiffany must be Angel Mission. I don't really care. Tiffany is alone. You keep going, Tiffany. It's not about Tim's strikes. I've already showed people how much, who got to see how much I spent on the attorneys? Sarasota Tim. Oh, yeah. Listen to poor Tiffany. She's struggling here. Let's read Tiffany's struggle. Tiffany, your tears will be enjoyed. But honestly, show us how much money you lost from Tim's strike. Your case is weak. It will be thrown out. No, it won't be, Tiffany, because my case was already strong because I have an attorney who already took on my case a while back ago. He's one of the most respected firms in Virginia. Tim's going to get sued for over $16,000. And because Tim doesn't know how to actually get an attorney because he's a narcissist, he's going to lose his ass in court. And we've already got him admitting to the process server he's not in the military. So, and if he doesn't show up, all I have to do is show this, which I have a ton of evidence, and go for the default judgment. And then I'm already going to go in and get it all coded for the treble threefold charges, of which I get to prove in court. So if Tiffany obviously has no understanding of the law, which is hilarious. So go let Tim know he's going to lose his alls. Ray has relatives legal proof that Tim striking her channel knows. Yeah, so YouTube's terms. Yep. As my attorneys sent him a copy of the entire terms of service. Not only the U.S. government should see how he took advantage of the... Well, that's going to be pinned into the court case because he should have a lot of assets to lien. And he's got 30 days to pay. He doesn't pay. Well, I'm going to go for a writ of garnishment anyway, but in Florida. Guess what? Because Tim has no LLC, I can get him hauled out of that RV and get that thing auctioned. So have fun with that. Does my attorney have a GED? No, my attorney has probably like a whatever the law, the doctorate of law is. Yeah, well, Tim, yeah, well, yeah, it was just, yeah. Tim does not understand YouTube copyright. And just because he doesn't like what people say about him is not a reason to strike somebody's channel. Tim doesn't understand when you're just putting out slop video content constantly on YouTube with no actual copyright to it. He's got to do a better job. If I wasn't adding my commentary, thank you, Juris Doctorate, thank you. Jurisprudence or whatever. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I could see him. Oh, for goodness sake, Tiffany, get a grip. Well, striking my boring YouTube channel just made me 16 grand, sweetie, so don't get jealous. Hey. Oh, my case is weak. Oh, Tiffany. Well, you know what? That's not what the judge is going to say. Even if Tim showed up to court, he'd get slaughtered. I'm thinking this is somebody that Tim knows. And yeah, tell Tim he's at a loss, sweetheart. I don't know which one of Tim's, probably too closely related relatives. And that's a Southern joke, girl. And you know what it means. And I come from the South. You're too late to the party. Well, Tiffany's thinking I've got a weak case over here because she's obviously a legal scholar. Yeah, come back after April the 10th. That's right. Tiffany is a sock account, probably Angel Mission. Well, we've got a copy of Angel Mission talking about Tim, her, wanting Tim to strike channels anyway. So the whole group of them. And you know what? The best part would be if the judge decides that Tim's channel should just be taken away. Because I've heard stuff like that happen. And I don't care. I don't care if Tim's channel's gone. I can still garnish other stuff. There's plenty of other people on YouTube who are fascinating to speak about. And it's fun trying to find new con artists or interesting, folks to talk about. We don't just have to talk about Tim. If the audience is open to us just having conversations about all types of scammers and ne'er-do-wells, I am happy to do it. and have fun doing it as well. All right, let's go to see just 2 seconds of Tim. We'll finish it out. But I did try to clearly explain the case because there's a lot of, and there's going to be a lot of stuff talking about other stuff, and that's okay. It's all cool. But obviously, there's always going to be conversations around, fair use and stuff, which is just what commentary channels are able to use. But this isn't about, the loss came through, obviously specialized attorneys. That's considered damages to a business. It would not be part of my normal course of business on this boring YouTube channel to have to hire a specialized copyright attorney as expensive as the ones I had. And because it's such a specialized area of the law, I had to get a good firm. This is just the money is called damages. And it keeps adding up. All right. So Tim did a Crushing It for Christ for Dummies 9 hours ago, which I don't think that was a good title, Tim, because that got 476 views. I looked at this one the other day with the audience. This is where Tim decided to kind of mislead the audience by not mentioning Christ. The only part of this video I'm going to look at, and then we'll watch Tim Crushing It for Christ, because it's usually aimed at me. Just the first part. Once he starts reading the devotional, we'll kick on out and end the stream. But watch this part. We'll keep it at normal speed. Miss Vicky thought he was just listening for truck sounds and stuff. I think Tim's been jumpy ever since he got served in this parking lot. You have to remember his process serving for my warrant and debt and cease and desist and all these things. Because listen to Chris Google Maps and Tim were talking. Tim likes to play Christian, but we know this is an act. He's more like what Chris Google Maps behaves like. This is what they think about. They work together to try to get rid of people. Tim was totally on board. his channel's the one that said all the removals. Nobody else can do it. It was Tim. We know who it is. Keep going, Tim. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I'm not sharing this tab. Am I? Share this tab instead. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Let me see. What am I sharing? Lord of my life. Hold on. The wrong tab. Oh, Angel Mission. That lady needs she's on a struggle then. Whoever it was on a struggle bus tonight for Tim. I mean, why some woman would struggle it for Tim is beyond me. Sad. It's got to be someone he knows. Oh, I got to speed him up. Oh, no, I'm going to leave it here because it's right at the beginning and then we'll click out.
I hope. I was stumbling all over my words, and I'm normally a one and done. We don't edit around here, but I was calling the Crasher, the Crusher, and a couple of other things. So good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, the day we're going to turn our clocks forward when we go to bed tonight, and this will be 9:30 in the morning. It won't get daylight for another hour, tomorrow, but it'll stay daylight for an hour longer, and that's...
I wonder why Tim took so many attempts to make his video. Doesn't look like he's been sleeping well.
I just love it. So let's have a cup of coffee, and I want to talk to you this morning about...
He's been really doubling down on wearing the Sarasota Tim t-shirts too. And the Crushing It for Christ. His Christian magical thinking is getting wild.
God Almighty, it's Jesus calling video. I threw you for a loop, huh? I didn't announce it right away. Let's go 2 minutes on this. See what we can get out of it. Yeah, you can actually have AI, Grok or Gemini, read that to you if you don't have the book. Just simply say, give me today's readings. That's all you got to do. And then if you want to know like a deeper meaning of it, you can say, what does it mean? What is it saying? I mean, if you really want to delve into understanding the Word of God and what Sarah Young is writing in these devotionals based on the scripture that's below them.
I hope Tim is actually looking to hire an attorney at some point. This was the day, I think, after I revealed his letter to everybody and basically said, what is he doing? Does he not understand legal process? He just looks rough, but there's going to be a moment coming up where there's something going to come past the window. That's the only part I'm interested in.
And today, before I read it, all of us have things that we're carrying on our shoulders and, concerning ourselves with. And it can be anything. It's a mountain to you. You can make it a mountain. You can take a molehill and definitely make a mountain out of it. And some of us are...
Well, I just made yours more of a mountain than a molehill, Tim, because I took it from the 5,000 small claims mark because of you and Chris Google Maps doing all this stuff. And it just 2 or more people. You, Chris Google Maps, 2 people. 3-fold the damages. It's in the codes. This isn't me talking to the AI. These are literally the codes that I'm following. Personal jurisdiction to have it that you are a non-resident because of your persistent conduct, Tim, of harming my business. This is where you get sued. And if people don't like it, I'm sorry. But in this case, I am correct within my legal rights to go ahead and do it. And the judge will find my case to be convincing. Because they got all this evidence. This is terrible. These are grown men talking this way about haters and stuff. It just looks extremely immature, especially in a court of law. Very immature. The Tiffany was like the highlight of the immaturity. You're just going to lose. Oh, whatever.
Are better than others at letting things roll off of us without concern. But These are
Thank you.
actually things that we're supposed to receive with joy. When you got problems coming into your life or concerns, these are just things.
Tim can't stop himself now, guys. This guy last year was threatening to come to my home state and to come to my city. Like, I'm going to come travel to Virginia Beach. When I was sending him a cease and desist, that was his response. Say some creepy stuff on his channel. Creeper, man. Creeps around young girls and stuff. Creepy. This is not a good dude. I'm so glad I've got him just petrified. All right. That's a paranoid move right there. Absolutely. Like, Miss Vicky thought she was just like checking out trucks or whatever. Miss Vicky, Tim is on like pins and needle a little bit more because of last time, anything new in the parking lot might be, especially by his trailer, could be the feds finally coming to ask him some questions. All right, let's go to the one he had today. I just had to show that part. That's awesome. All right, Tim. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, Joy. We looked at this at the members only, so I don't want to bore members twice, but we'll look at the one from today. So far we've got he's just been spitting videos out. Remember, he said to his audience recently, I'm only going to put out content if you're really, really something I've got to share. So he's got to share all this stuff, of which not one of his videos today, except this e-bike carrier. The Facebook Marketplace did good. This e-bike character finally got over 1,000 views. Make sure to hit the likes, guys. And thank you for 1 million views, by the way, too. Thank you. I know I left a thank you post. I just wanted to make sure I clarified the legal stuff because people, keep talking about my YouTube earnings and stuff. It doesn't matter. I'm not suing him for that because I promise you, I can add it in. But I could sit there and figure out the analytics. I promise you. I mean, I don't know, for reputational harm, that could be all sorts of numbers. The judge might decide they want to add on more from how disgusting Tim and Chris Google Maps were. Because those are two pretty disgusting men. So somebody coming in and protecting Sarasota Tim, that just shows you a level of just pick me out there. Especially if it's a chick, man. That's disgusting. Tiffany's wild. All right. So Tim decided to insult Christians with we won't listen to all this. We'll give it 10 minutes and we'll finish it out, guys. I'm going to put him at 1.5. He's crushing it for Christ for dummies. He's really doubling down, guys. We're going to get a lot of Christian motif stuff. I think it's going to be really important to watch Tim's context. Miss Vicky, really? I'm jealous. I didn't get any emails. What? What about who's jealous? About what? Let's not get, who's jealous? He sent me emails too, saying I need to get help. He said I was pathetic. They're all been nasty. I mean, hey guys, we're all on the same side. These people are nasty. Okay. I just, they've all been nasty. Yeah. I've got a screenshot of a channel name that someone created that's really nasty about Miss Vicky. So there's been some, yeah, of course, especially women are going to get really targeted, and that's okay. I could have stayed in my safer female hug box of girl world. I knew the moment I started to make commentary about a guy, I was going to get my, men were not going, some guys would be cool about it because they think Tim's but other dudes, once I really started taking Tim to task, we're going to probably be like, oh, this woman, like Stewie wanting to support. I just like, whoa. Jay printed some t-shirts for Tim. Yeah, he was supposed to pay them. He was actually supposed to pay him. And for the little jingle thing he put on, he screwed him over for that. Yeah, he did a few reactions. Well, nobody wants to necessarily have to go up against bullies. It's hard. I've spent my whole life going up against bullies. All my life, and I try to handle it as professionally as I possibly can. If people want to say things like, oh, she begged for, donations. You know how many creators have been supported to take on legal actions against people like Sarasota Tim? Lots of creators. Literally, some have set up GoFundMes and stuff. I never did anything like that. I always said, if somebody wants to donate and help me out, that's great. I never set up a GoFundMe to a goal. And that's literally happened when people call out, especially people who commit financial shadiness like Sarasota Tim, and you call them out. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. Not everybody wants to deal with all this stuff, you know? I just, you know, it's been, you know, people calling me names on top of it. So, you know, you just, like I said, I got a very thick skin. I got to deal with people like Tiffany who thinks that I'm a loser, you know, who doesn't really understand, obviously, the complexities of a case. And I'm not shocked either by the standard of her English.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sarah.
I try not to be mean.
Welcome to another Crushing It for Christ. And I know you've heard me say this before, but today is a good one. And I'm going to tell you why that's true. It really is. Because, you know, no matter how many times you read the Bible or read God's Word,
lots of angry men
it takes
like
a new
that.
meaning every time. You grow in your knowledge and different things start to click. And that's with anything in life. You got to admit it. Assembling something, doing anything from when you first started to when you become, you know, really good at it, you can do it in your, you know, blindfolded, right? Well, that's the way it is with God's Word. So just because I might say something in one of these videos, like, yeah, we heard that one before. Well, maybe it hasn't clicked with you yet. Others haven't heard it, and others are hearing it today in a different analogy that are giving them cause to pause and to say, that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
And what is it we're going to be talking about today? Well, before I read the Jesus Calling.
Somehow I managed to scare Cougar Sands away. Cougar Sands, who was always trying to support Tim, and then they were like, oh, no, Tim's kind of, and then now Cougar Sands is not even trolling me as much. The only people I'm getting trolled for are like other dudes in this community. And I'm glad we're not really talking about them. And that some of them come in just to spy so they can talk about it on their own channels. That's fine by me.
Devotional today.
I don't care.
Let me start off by saying goals and dreams and desires that we all have are absolutely fine. We're hardwired to achieve things in life.
Oh, yeah.
We want to
I know.
have goals. We want to have money.
I was just thinking about that too the other day, that we never heard about his grandson. And I just wondered, did his daughter ask him to please not discuss him on this channel because she knows how much Tim gets? So that's the only thing I can think, is that his daughter said, look, just don't talk about him. You know, please don't talk about us on your channel like that. You can talk about me, but not the grandson. So I just wonder if the family put a kibosh on him. And that's why we never heard anymore. Because Tim would love to milk it out.
We want a family, and we want to, you know, go higher in our education, in our occupation, in our jobs, and all of that is fine. Except what happens is as time has gone by for hundreds and thousands of years now, we have evolved into, instead of thinking about goals and ambition in a proper way, we have made it a god.
Well, it's especially
the real
bum
God
when he thinks he was just completely, you know, so needing to get so much money because his business was put out, you know, and he never opened it again. And he took all this money from the government. And, you know, he doesn't like people talking about it because he hit my channel 1,000 times, which helps build a case for the EIDL. But that's something down the future. You know, it's bit by bit, guys. Nothing's ever fast. This is just a way for me to unnerve him starting out and to get this UCC filing recorded, because it's not easy. I've promised you, I've not been the only person to have reported him. They work slowly. They go for the larger conspiracies and then they work their way down. But they're going to get to his price range at some point and check out his paperwork and see if it matches his IRS taxes. And they have all this, you know, higher level technology to kind of, you know, cross-reference these things. And they're going to look into it. And they have till 2031. So there's still some time to burn on this. 2030, 2031. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, they'll just, you know, probably go for restitution, you know. Even though that's, you know, wire fraud carries 30 years, they're not going to be putting these people in prison. They just want to get the money back. And if it means they have to auction his stuff off to do it, they will. They don't care if they leave him homeless. It's not their problem.
And we've made money, a person, a job, a toy, a camper, a boat, a truck, a Corvette, a Harley Davidson, people, a woman, a man. We have turned those into things that we idle, that are the first thing that we have to take care of
I'm
and
glad to
cover,
hear that.
and we want to grow it. We want more
That's
for it.
a
And, you know,
great pension.
when you're going down the road of ambition and you achieve a goal, once you get to one point that was, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel before, now you can see further. So it's insatiable. You can.
It was 500 people clicked into this master class and how to kill your YouTube channel. And like Tim is just like, I'm telling you, the Christian magical thinking, if he really thinks this is what's going to clear away a very strong court case, is not true. And you can't, you know, people, you know, it's all been laughs and giggles, but there are consequences, legal consequences. And Tim has continued to try to come after my channel. And ever since this started, I know Dr. Falco is like, oh, he's going to strike you. He hasn't.
Never get enough.
Make my case
And
better.
so God teaches that
He
we are
wants
to
to,
seek
but
Him
he
first,
won't.
because people lose their way. They stop seeking Him first, and they start putting all these desires they have in their heart for what they want, and it may not be what God's plan is for you. And did you know that God has a plan for you in your life? Your whole life has a plan. Each phase of it, each day of it, your entire existence has a plan that God has for you, but people mess it up. They want to deviate from it.
No, they'll just order Tim's channel to go away. And that's fine by me. I'll make videos on somebody else. Oh, Lisa's getting her knickers in a twisty. Well, you know what? You had to subscribe and then wait 5 minutes to leave that comment. So you're dedicated. Thank you. Tim and his 100 subscriber fans, or his 5 sock accounts, or probably Stewie or somebody. Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
They get off track, and he sits back there and he's like,
"Look, like to see other
you're
people
putting this way
get
ahead,
people."
and the first thing you need to be doing is coming to me, because God teaches that if this is what you want, it says, seek me first, and everything in your life will fall into place. That's really what it
Yeah, it's
says
the
in the Bible. Seek Him first, bring to Him. Don't make a plan of what you want to do or what you want and then pray about it. Don't do that. Come to God first and say, would you show me the plan, or I'm thinking about this, give me discernment and direction to achieve this. And if not, please remove it from my life. And that's exactly what He does. He will either, because you came to Him first, give you the desires of your heart, and then probably more than you even asked for, that you never had any idea. It would be like, wow, you know, this is even better. And then other things that He doesn't really want in your life that you think you want. Well, what will He do? He doesn't just, you know, take it away from you, don't let you have it. He will slowly change your heart to where you no longer want that anymore. That is, you know, that you just fade from that. And that way you don't miss it. You don't feel like it was taken away, or you don't feel disappointment. But everything in life can be so much smoother.
I don't know who's Tim trying to convince out here. How many crushing hits for Christ do you think we'll be getting from now until April? We're getting a lot of content where Tim's burning off, like burning out like his like nervous energy or something, because he's just like, he's scooting, he's trying to stay off. I have a feeling that Tim tries to get away from that RV as soon as he can in the day, because he don't want to have anybody serving him anything else in that parking lot. You know what, Tim? You were such a nasty creature towards me. I'm glad you're getting everything at this moment. And I can't wait to court. I'm going to be well prepared, sir. And like I said, now I know I can include the cost of counsel. Shoot, I just get this firm that's already, I've already got a relationship with. Get them to send somebody into court with me to explain this to the judge. And then I'll bill you 3 times the cost, probably. Whatever, threefold.
With each step of each rung of the ladder that you go up, if you're always, each and every day and throughout the day, seeking God first for everything and anything. Even the smallest things, he says. But look at the world today. Look where we're at. It's all about the money. It's all about the oil. It's all about the power. It's all about me. It's all about how can I get this and do that? And how can I take away from this person or that person? And
see, Tim's all upset because he thinks I'm going to take from him. But he didn't think about taking from the American taxpayers. That was stuff that he was deserving, you see. But the thought that, because he never wanted to give to his kids either. So the thought that I could come and take this narcissist's money is killing him. In fact, so much so that there's multiple sock accounts that's coming in. Margaret says, I commented on Dollar Channel the other day that you were a formidable force of nature, and you are. I'm only the best. Well, thank you. I know. Hey, like I said, if I was a guy and taking a bully to task like this, I would be given a lot more respect. But because I'm a female, you're going to see just all of these nasty like parodies and videos. That's fine. But it's always making me out to be nasty, even though this guy horrifically bullied me, because this country's misogynistic and it's disgusting. And it's gotten more disgusting. And the younger generation is even worse. And so, I'm kind of glad we don't, and I don't entertain those people. I certainly don't entertain their channels. And I certainly don't think that's, it's been really disgusting. And, but, I'm not shocked nor surprised either. But I think it reflects more poorly on those people than it does of me, and how little people actually understand the intricacies of this case just shows me the level of comprehension that people have. And that's really scary. That's petrifying and frightening. And people should actually wish that I were their healthcare provider, because I am this thorough. But no, people just call it a negative. It's pretty disgusting, I'm going to say. But I'm always going to fight for being a strong woman. Oh, yeah, they're going to get some blings. Junebug, because people like to talk about, my dog does need a surgery. And I'd rather have my $5,000 sitting in my account at the moment going towards my dog's surgery, rather than having to pay for expensive attorneys to protect my, little bit of what I have as my fun streaming channel. And I, started talking around topics around health because people mislead it. And you know what? I got criticized for being a healthcare professional. It's a certain level of hypocrisy and misogyny that comes towards women in social media, unless you're out here with your titties out or something, I guess, being stupid. So you got to bounce. Well, night, Birdie. We're not going to be here too long. So that's my TED talk on that one, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, night, It's just, it is, I've seen how they did that to that poor lady, Adventures Over 60, and like overtook her channel and sexualized her channel and stuff. That's nasty. That's a whole topic we can talk about people's channels getting hacked and not clicking on the link, So it's, Trump is too much. It's awful for other countries. Trump is terrible. All of these red pill, all of these dudes, all this misogyny, it's disgusting. All these PDFs, disgusting. And I don't care. All the people in this, who, the group of guys who they're not part of this like community for Tim, like calling Tim out. Those are just a bunch of jokes. Okay. They are. And that's what their whole channels are about. But I, was having fun with stuff, but calling Tim out, Tim particularly nasty towards me. So I just doubled down and did what commentary channels did. So it came to this, and I don't care. And now he's getting his ass sued. And he really is.
It's a greed. It's just, it's horrible.
It's a greed.
And only those that have true joy and peace, that, the people that think they're going to have more power, a nicer car, a bigger home, a better looking woman, a better looking man than the next guy. Or, whatever.
And he should understand law better than anybody. But they're of the biggest group of bullies also. They're a big group of just nasty bullies over there. That's my opinion. That's why I don't pay attention to them. I have to be honest. That's how I didn't even know this thing about Chris Google Maps. Oh, and they're in everybody's chat, two-facing themselves. I don't have time for that. And their channels are so small. I don't bother with people. I bother if they have a bigger impact on the platform, because obviously those are the ones who are going to have more reach and potentially doing more like misleading of people. Tim's a charlatan. We shouldn't be giving con artists their retirements.
They're lost. They think that's what they want. And then here's somebody over here that
but
seems to have nowhere
I would
near
never tell
the
you
materialistic
that,
things
but,
that these people do. And look how many of those people have died, committed suicide.
I can't
have
say
fame,
that,
fortune,
but
and
they're
everything.
just
Can't. Their insatiable appetites cannot fill
Thank you.
their heart's desires because they're not seeking God first. Then you got the person over here that seeks God first, and God may give them just a mediocre, easy life without, like living in an RV or living in a 1-bedroom apartment,
right,
or living off grid. And then again,
talking about greed, Tim, you took $58,400 in taxpayer money without the blink of an eye. And you, see, Tim thinks it's greed because this guy is such a narcissist. I am for everybody who felt like Tim slighted them or anything. I promise you, I am living rent free in this narcissist's head at the moment. And he doesn't know what to do because his usual response is to strike somebody's channel. But I don't think he's even done that lately because he's really got some stuff that's staring him down. As much as his Christian magical thinking wants to come into it, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is hilarious to me. Every time I see one of these things and read that letter he sent me helped my case out too. Just shows the lack of respect that he shows towards the legal process and the lack of understanding. It's just chef's kiss.
And you could be very, very successful living on the ocean front in Palm Beach, as long as you're seeking him first and he's rewarded you. Some people can't handle, it's like people who win the lottery. They can't take it. They can't handle it. They end up losing everything or being taken by everybody. God has to give you the plan that he already had for you. He saw you in your mother's womb. He saw you before you were created. You got to get this in your head that this is not a by chance life that you have. You have a map that's right there. All you got to do is have God direct you and ask him to show you and to move you in the direction of the map. And whether, chapter 1 and versus chapter 10, you haven't got there yet.
Before you got so nasty about everyone's channels, Tim, and didn't get a thick skin, to put up with criticism on the internet. Like, I don't like the criticism on the internet. I think it's unfair that I get so criticized because, like I said, I think if I were a guy taking Tim to task like this, I would be held in a very different light. They'd be like, oh, he's so smart, getting him for his money. And because it's me as a female, fucking bitch, it's just a different standard. You know what? Well, keep messing with this, and I probably would have been a better attorney than Carl.
You've got to go through all these steps. But each way through, if you simply trust and lean on God, life can be very simple. And you can avoid and ignore all the things and all the traps that so many people fall into that the devil's schemes suck them into. Yeah. And he's very good at it. He's very good at scheming people and robbing souls because he knows that his time is limited. He only has now. But when the Lord returns and there's a new heaven and a new earth, and those that knew him, the dead will rise, as the Bible teaches, and then those that are left will be drawn into the air and met with him onto a better place. I mean, that's a great way to live. And then these people that are just trying to cheat their way through and they're idling drugs, they're idling money.
That's you, Tim. Drugs, money, all that stuff. You can keep spitting out your prosperity gospel or whatever you're doing. And remember, I got family who are Southern Baptists. This don't mean to me. I heard all this crazy Christian talk my whole life. Especially your type of Christian magical thinking and stuff, not the real type of compassion and stuff that Jesus teaches us. No, you don't have any of that, Tim. And that's very evident with how nasty you and Chris Google Maps were. So good luck, Tim. Can't believe you got yourself so set up in a conundrum that came after a person in a specific state that can get you threefold for damages. And people want to know about my income. You know what? I'll add it up and just throw it in, but I don't have to tell you. You don't pay my taxes.
They're idling,
Especially
all these other things. And some of the things are not bad, but they're making it a God. And God is a very jealous God. Think about your wife. I'm going to talk to the husbands right now. If you were to be sitting here watching something on TV that you shouldn't, or maybe it's a fine show and there's a beautiful woman in it, and all you do is carry on about, boy, if I had, oh man, she is so beautiful, and your wife's sitting there, how do you think that makes her feel? And vice versa. Your wife is looking at a guy, Brad Pitt. I think Brad Pitt's a good-looking guy myself. But I mean, if they're sitting there
Tim, you were hitting up like some 15-year-old girl on your scooter the other day. We caught you like she overheard you, and you're like old enough to be her great grandpapa.
You know, drooling over him, or see somebody on the street in front of you. I mean, you know, you can look, but keep it to yourself, because why do you want to hurt the other person's feelings?
I never understand
and that's exactly
that.
what God gets. He gets his feelings hurt. He's like, look, I created you. I got a plan for you.
He is.
And I had another plan for you, but you took off down this
totally
road.
At work.
And, you know, it really saddens me that every day your whole motive is just to wake up and to achieve this goal, this person, this money, this thing, this home, whatever it is, you know, that you're trying to, you know, this job, you know, bucking for the promotion. And he sits there.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible. How dare people wake up and try to go for that? This guy is in a tailspin. Look at him. He's in a tailspin. This is like a very different person from Mr. Confident that we saw out in August 2025. Or 20, I think it was 25, whichever date it was. 24, sorry. August 24. Being all tough about taking the haters down with Chris Googles and telling us to go listen to Chris Googles' message, where he says he cusses at the end. So we've got the message. Where he specifically mentions my name and how they don't care and the strike and take you down and this, that, and the other. And Tim's approving of it. And then we have the evidence of my strikes. So tell me where my case is weak. Just people aren't used to actually taking people to task on YouTube because everyone thinks it's impossible to do this, you know, because that's the way it's discussed, because they see these huge cases involving huge sums of money. Well, this is a way that you can take it to small claims and not have it become a huge expense. As long as your states have good codes, such as mine does. We happen to have very good laws here.
And he's like,
don't mess in the Commonwealth.
You know, probably it saddens him that, look, it's like your own child. Here's another analogy. Forgets everything that you did for them, changing their diaper and feeding and providing for them. And then when they get on their own, they're like, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to do my own way. And you try to tell them, hey, this is what I've learned from my life experiences. I made those mistakes. Let me help you to prevent you. But, you know, here's the way you can get that. But first do this, you know, work up to it. And they're like, I don't need to hear that. I got it all figured out. I know everything. And that's exactly what we have going on in our world today. People don't want to listen. They certainly don't want to hear the word G-O-D. Okay? We got so many people.
Well, Tim, I don't think you need to listen to the fact that you probably should get yourself an attorney. And not having an attorney and thinking this is just going to magically disappear is probably not good. And then you coming to court and not being prepared for this is probably not good. And I am potentially going to hire counsel now, Tim. Because they don't really need to come into the courtroom with me. I got all the stuff to give them. So, you know, time to meet, time to bring them into the courthouse. But I've already got William Mullins as a firm. So I just need to get counsel to handle the civil case for me. And you would be the person having to pay for it. Because if I bring those people in, I probably have a shoe-in on this. But if I brought in I'm doing most of I'm doing most of what they would do anyway. But if I just wanted that, to have somebody in the courtroom to present it to the judge succinctly, I'm potentially thinking about it. It says reasonable fee. I'm sure the judge would think they're reasonable.
People that tune off these videos and those that do watch them or other videos like this that are teaching the true word of God of what the Bible teaches us. You're a blessed person. If you learn one thing,
right?
Or even if it wasn't from the last one, but you learned from this one, you benefit. And I can tell you and promise you, because I don't have, speaking for myself, a tremendous support system or someone where I can go. I mean, I've leaned on AI a little bit lately, and I've learned that guy don't know anything.
Yeah, they are cringing it for crying.
I know some things. They know a little more than me on most things. But there's a lot of things they don't know. And it's just how they're programmed. The gatekeepers, you know.
Cashing it for price.
I'm just very, very blessed that my life as a Christian man, although I'm been over here and over there and out in left field a few times in my life, that I finally,
there's nothing that's more suspicious to a judge than somebody constantly calling themselves a Christian.
away childish things. And I absolutely
put away childish things. Okay, I got to go back and hear this, guys. We got to hear this. Tim's trying to tell us that he's put away childish things as we then go see him make the most childish financial decisions about motorbikes and stuff lately. Did you not read the letter you sent me, Tim? That shit was childish too.
They know a little bit more than me on most things, but there's a lot of things they don't know. And it's just how they're programmed, the gatekeepers, you know? So I'm just very, very blessed that my life as a Christian man, although I'm been over here and over there and out in left field a few times in my life, that I finally, put away childish things. And I absolutely depend every day on God to help me, because I got a lot of things going on. I'm all by myself. I'm having to deal with what I hear and YouTube and through the word out there. And, I hear the negativity. I see things. I know.
Well, Tim, are you actually reading the all this information that's coming through on this court case? Because the way you and Chris Google Maps acted towards people who made commentary around you, it's not cool. And this is YouTube. That's a YouTube commentary. This is what happens. I don't care if your community doesn't like it. Tim shouldn't. I promise you, there are plenty of people on this platform who make retirement content. And if they turned out to be as problematic as Sarah said to Tim, I'd be making commentary on them. I promise you, that guy, Mikey, who likes to strike channels, I promise you, I counter him one time. I don't think he has the means to get himself through a court case. So he's somebody who needs to be educated, because a lot of these creators, Nomadic Fanatic does it, they all abuse the copyright system here, because they know that most people have families. Most people don't want to be doxxed. They don't want their weird supporters coming in and trolling them or showing up on their doorsteps. And I get it. I don't think that, I have to put up with like I said, so much negativity, because I'm actually standing up for myself against, nasty bullies. It's amazing. It's incredible. And I'm actually trying to show a pathway for other small creators to protect themselves. There's nothing wrong with that, because we should have a right in our First Amendment to call out con artists, especially ones who take a ton of taxpayer money.
Things, and it can be very, very distracting. But I'm also rooted. I'm also somebody that remembers that God has helped me hundreds of times in my life. I mean, countless times, with every imaginable thing you can think of, from the smallest little thing.
Because they were just trying to help businesses at the time, so everything was under good faith. So Tim was perjuring himself, but Tim made that choice. So I wouldn't feel for Tim.
I totally recognize was from him,
Tim
to things that were unimaginable that I couldn't even believe happened to me, and everything in between. And when you get that and you see that, and as you mature, you're like, I'm never going to lose this. I want to keep this. This is real. This is what
mature. Is there anything about Tim that we've ever felt is mature? Has he handled this situation with people saying things that he doesn't like maturely? Do you think that thing that you heard from Chris Google Maps with all the cussing and striking, and Tim talking about, we've already got it very clear that these two work together to, strike at people and get ugly to people and stuff. And we're just to tolerate that all the time on this platform because he doesn't like criticism? I mean, nobody does, but we all get it. Isn't that being mature? It's just like understanding that it happens. I mean, that's why it's funny when I see these trolls come in. Obviously they're going to criticize me, but it's laughable sometimes because it's like, I don't really care. And you're also trying to front for somebody who's a con artist. So you look like trash from the outset. It just amazes me. They can't realize that it's just because he's looks like a grandpa. He's a terrible grandpa.
Really count on. And when I find myself being distracted or pulled in with evil or trying to be brought down or whatever, I know right away. It's like I've told about it before. If you know how a card trick, or you know how a guy pulls a rabbit out of a hat, I don't care which way he does it. You can't be fooled again. You've got the truth. But there's so many people that don't want to do their own thinking. They want other people to think for them. Here's how you get happiness. Lots of money. Take no prisoners. Buck your way up through the job.
Lots of happiness. Lots of money. And notice how many times he mentions money? Because Tim's more obsessed with money. I just know that's a way to get to a narcissist. And so I'm just using every pull of the law possible. There's nothing wrong with that. And all these people want to talk about my YouTube losses. See, this is the problem when you have uneducated, ill-informed is probably the better word. Ill-informed creators, making, nasty, their commentary about the situation, and they want to put their spin on it. And that's what happens. That's fine, because it's not going to change anything, which actually is going to happen in General District Court in the city of Virginia Beach on April the 10th. So it's interesting because they obviously just want to make their bag off of, the drama happening between Tim and I, because instead of me just making videos shouting about my bullies, I just decided to take my bully to court, which is where he needs to be. And he doesn't like it. He thinks I don't respect my elders.
Get the right woman. Go online. Meet her anywhere.
I'm okay with that.
Cheat on your wife. Do whatever feels good. Don't worry about it. You only got one life. Live it. And you start just shoving away morality and shoving away God, and putting down the Bible. And, it's just you completely don't even think about him. Days go by, months go by since the last time you had a heart to heart, or you hit your knees and prayed. And you say, well, I've been doing pretty good, though. I got more than you. I got $1 million.
Supposedly, nobody else is a believer in God the way Tim is. Anybody who goes up against Tim, he's so mad. It's awesome. He's really going to court. It doesn't matter. His letter that he sent me was hilarious. That thing was hilarious. He's trying to quote some codes that don't even match what's happening in this case. That's what's so astounding. He doesn't understand why he's going to court. It's not my problem. I sent him everything. That's for him to decipher.
Well, how real happy are you? And what if God calls you home tomorrow? What if, you wake up and you feel something, you go to the doctor? How many of these multimillionaires, and we hear about every day, that had fame, fortune, and everything, and they're out of here? I would rather live to be a healthy person that can stand up vertically and go down the road and do what I want to do and just rely on God's plan, his map. And each and every day and throughout the day, keep looking at the map. What's the next step? What's my next turn? Left, right? What do I keep doing? And trusting, not trying to figure it out, not trying to get ahead of them, not looking up the road on the map, looking right where you're at and asking God and trusting God. Not like looking at yourself in the mirror, the Bible teaches, and walking away and immediately forget what you look like.
Yes, and the fact that I've already had this firm be the ones that sent Tim a cease and desist. That's what I'm saying. I can't go through this letter. You would be bored out of your gourd if I went through and I think I have in the past, and I think I do have it on a member's live somewhere. I went through the cease and desist, and I talked about, there's a video if you are a member, I talk about brigading, and I think I went over parts of this cease and desist because obviously I'm trying not to dox everything out, and there's certain information, so I've had to be cautious about what I've shown on it. But I have spoken about this, and I've spoken about this for some time. But people get in the drama about Tammy and this, that, and the other, and the more soap opera parts of Sarasota Tim's life. The more interesting things are the shit he doesn't talk about. Promise you.
You can't put faith in God and pray about things and ask him
He's
for
never
direction,
going to tell his
and then go
audience.
back to being you're the director and go back to making these other things gods. Now let's read it. Hopefully that's going to make a lot of sense to you.
All right, we're going to
today
tell you here, Tim, because nobody cares to hear you read a devotional, because nobody believes that you have any that you're any Christ-like behaviors, or that Tim, like I said, Tim is especially problematic. And the fact, if he just let it go and never struck a channel, I promise you, probably, Tim wouldn't become so interesting. The only reason why I ended up sticking around was because he was so aggressively trying to take my channel away, because he doesn't like to have any criticism, because he's such a narcissist. And it's been, extra, and I do believe that I have a right to keep my commentary channel up here too. And I have a right to use my First Amendment rights in this country. And I certainly have a right to make commentary criticism against con artists who cosplay as Christians like Sarasota Tim. Jesus. He should be taken to court just for that. But I'm not going to listen to him read his nonsense, guys. I can't deal with that. But I promise you, we'll think of some good polls, because Tim is, I'm just curious to see what is he going to do. Because obviously his money potentially could be running. Well, he's got money from that Goldwing sale. I know that. So TikTok, the talk's ticking, Tim. And if he decides to ignore, the case and doesn't come to court, then, like I said, I'll go for the default judgment. The likelihood of him showing up is probably very slim. because he probably thinks the case doesn't have any merit. But unfortunately, it does. And I'm like I said, I probably have to, I don't want to have to retain the firm myself, because then I'd have to wait to, probably, collect for counsel from the case win, because these types of firms, they want you paying ahead of time, especially on a civil matter. So at this point, even though I could, collect for counsel, I have everything that I need. And if I really feel like I don't, then I probably think about it closer to court. But I think I'm going to be fine. I don't think that Tim's going to be able to. Tim's too cheap to show up with an attorney. He'll spend $6,000 on a dirt bike or $27,000 on a Goldwing, but he's going to be too cheap to get an attorney. He's going to send me those childish motion to dismiss about fair use or something, which shows that he doesn't know why he's going to court. So it's interesting. So, I mean, I would love to see him in court, because if he actually came to court, I would have an opportunity to ask him in person about his EIDL and what he spent that money on. So I don't know if he wants to show up to court for that one, because I'd actually get that on record. So I don't know. So, I mean, he's in a rock and a hard place at the moment. But that EIDL filing is going to go in there anyway, because it shows that that's what I was talking about, and he doesn't like me talking about his fraud. So, and he's got to prove me otherwise, and he's not going to be there. And I've already got Chris and him, conspiring on video. I mean, you can't have stronger evidence than that. So, oh my gosh. It's going to be fun, guys. And Chris is going to be, not Chris, Tim's content. He's going to just, I swear we're going to get just sermon after sermon. I'm wondering, because he's going to be so concerned about this case now. I wonder if he's going to really get out to travel, or we just going to see him like burning out his like frustration on his little dirt bikes and stuff, which is probably the sort of escapism that he went into when he was married and not getting on with the wife. Yeah, he'll ride the grid to court. That's right. All hopped up on coffee. He's ever that. Yeah, I think, you know what? He could get himself a senior coffee right before court, because there's a McDonald's right across the street from the courthouse. So he could get himself all hopped up on a senior coffee right before we head into court. You can't bring any drinks into court. So he's going to have to hop himself up ahead of time and then, get into court. So, yeah, he's going to have to get up there. Yeah, hit the likes are free. I did want to thank my moderators before I left. Miss Catherine was here. Angel of Glass. Sammy was here. Thank you, Miss Sammy. And David, always his wonderful support, and all of you. Thomas, there's all of you. For getting me to 1 million. I can't find you, Angel of Glass. I know you're here. I know you're here. I can't believe this. But this is a blueprint for any other small creator who's gone through this. And to show these creators that small creators do have a way to protect themselves. Yes, it does mean doing the counter. Most people don't want to do that. And I can appreciate and understand it, because you are putting yourself out there. And there are some sick, weirdy puppies out there, But I've tried to not give all of Tim's details away, at least not on a public as much. On public documents, I'm allowed to. The fact that I've had to have public documents taken down by Tim because some dude in the community doesn't think I should do whatever. I don't care what they think. Do whatever I want on my channel. Just like Tim says for his. You do you, I do me. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Somebody just said something awesome in. David. Oh, April the 10th. Thank you, David. Oh, you are always such an awesome supporter of this community. I know you're. Yes, Tim is getting finally. And we wonder where he's gone at night. His evening chats have like completely disappeared. And I tell you, that thing of him peeping out the window, that's Tim getting all stressed out about process servers, man, because he complained about my process server not being professional. Trying to say he was not identifying himself for some bullshit the judge doesn't care about. And the judge doesn't care, Tim, because you didn't send your motion to the judge. And yeah, I don't think any of that's going to work. It wasn't even about the case. He's hitting the bottle. He's at a local dive bar. Yo, thank you, Tree. You're welcome. And I appreciate you guys too. I do my love hearts, you know, and my puppies appreciate you and all of your support. It's been fun. And I'm just curious to see what happens to Tim's channel, because this is a reality. I promise you, when I started reading the codes further and further, and then figured out I could go for this threefold damage because of his work with Chris Google Maps and how these two just, you know, Chris is obviously not going to be having to, you know, pay anything on this, you know, but Tim is. So maybe Tim shouldn't have been so eager to take bad advice from other people who were going to have him do things that weren't really cool. You know, and we shouldn't tolerate this. You know, I'll win. Well, thank you, Margaret. I have a good feeling, you know, just because of the fact that the firm that took on my cease and desist and my counter notifications, their reputation is held very highly. And the fact that that is what I had to do to protect my business, and now I'm just trying to get collecting on those damages for what I had to spend. It's fair in a court when it comes to business, especially with the level of willful malice that Tim and Chris Google Maps conspired to commit. So he might not be the one saying strikes, but Chris did. And Tim said he had a message from Chris. It's pretty clear. And then obviously Tim's the one striking. So he's, you know, yeah, I'm exposing his fraud. Yeah, I know. Well, night, Angel. Thank you. I'm glad you're all okay. I hope you're okay too. I hope everyone's okay. Nighttime is drinking time. Well, he's got to get that ambient chaser in. All right. Even though it's 9:30 technically to my body, it's 10:30 technically by the clock. And of course, I've got the joy of my job tomorrow, which I have, despite doing all of this, because people don't think I should be a nurse and do this too. Because, you know, fuck, how dare I be, you know, doing more than one thing in my lifetime and succeed at it. I don't think people could believe that I could just take Tim down this way. Yeah. Patience is a virtue in YouTube world. And if anybody wants to share the story, please do. Because I think it's exciting. Nobody ever takes these. People always scream about court around here, but nobody actually does anything. I actually do stuff. I don't talk out the sides of my mouth about stuff. If I say I'm going to do something, I dang well do it. That's it. Your case has real teeth. Yes. Thank you, Margaret. Yeah, it really does have absolute teeth. And within the Virginia Code. That's the most, it's got jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction, and it's following code. So, I mean, this is a case with merit. So as much as people want to say it's a meritless case and this, that, and the other YouTube losses, I'm not even going for the YouTube losses. It's just the fact that my channel's monetized. That's all I need to say. People are so wild. You drove by his trailer today. He was there with the door open. Like looking out for the process server at all times to flee out the way. Oh my goodness. Well, I can't say his e-bike was on the track. Well, we won't give you away. And we're not stalking him. David just happens to live in the area. There's lots of folks who live in the area who run into Sarasota Tim, as we know, because we've had photos of him in the wild. Maybe you should take down Christo. Well, if there's other con artists out here that we need to approach, like I said, I'm always looking for other people to cover, and I certainly know how to protect myself. So if they ever want to try to strike, you know, I'll just counter. If they send some weird people around, I wouldn't mess in the Commonwealth. That's all I've always said. And I said that right from the start, that you don't want to mess with us in the Commonwealth. We've got some pretty stringent laws in this state. And Tim just, really thinks that he could do what he wants. And he was still trying to take me down at the start of this year. He's never stopped. And the judge isn't going to look very kindly on that, considering how many times he's been asked not to do that. And you can't do these things. It's very clearly stated here in law. I'm just using the law. That's all. And I'm just doing it in a smarter way by doing it in a smaller claim court case, which is a lot less expensive, a lot faster, requires a lot less attorneys. It's just a faster, quicker way for me to, recuperate my losses from my business without having to go into huge damages and other harder stuff to prove, like reputational damage and all this other shite. That's a lot harder to prove. This is solid, just a clear amount of money, damages threefold because of the conspiracy. That's it. It's not, he's got himself in a real pickle. Yes, I got all my paperwork ducks in a row. You should get a side gig and quit my job. That's right. I should quit my job and get myself a side hustle. Yes, thank you. Promise you, I didn't think my side hustle would go like this. I originally was just talking to people about not listening to people like him about health stuff, because there's so many people that want to be health and wellness influencers and shit, and they have no medical experience. Would never listen to somebody unless they have licensure in that area. He shouldn't be giving financial stuff. In Florida, he can get his ass tagged for that stuff on his channel. He is violating so many things. And these people who put up these channels and stuff just assume they can. And as a community, sometimes we have to kind of say, no, sorry, you're misleading people. You're full of nonsense. You're making money off of crap. And we have to somehow, because we have no regulations really. And YouTube doesn't follow its own terms of service at all, because Tim's channel should be gone by now for the number of frivolous and unwarranted copyright strikes this man threw out to people. Garbage. He got shook up. Oh, well, that was from the other day. So we don't know when that was the one from yesterday. So yeah, it has merit. Yes. Having Tim's video pause with his head. Hang on. Well, we're just going to end it there, guys. I always love, people always tell me off because I start chatting and with the comments. How can you talk for this long? I'm just like, I'm live streaming. And it just like I said at the beginning, when people podcast for 3 hours a day and nobody insults them, but me as a female, if I come out and stream for a couple of hours every other day, I'm like committing crime. It's just, and I'm so tired of the misogyny. It's got worse, I swear. It's terrible. It's terrible. They say these younger guys are even worse than our guys of our generation. And ours are some antiquated sons of a bee sometimes too, like Tim. Not all, because there's some awesome dudes in this chat. And you know who you all are. I'm just saying some dudes like Tim who really thinks, he really does believe that he is better and smarter than every woman. That's why his marriages have all failed. I could talk about this forever. But thank you guys for the support, because it does mean a lot. And, like I said, people are going to say some crazy stuff out there. That's okay. It's advertising for my channel, man. And thank you to all the new subscribers. And we'll try to keep it fun. We love your long live streams. Well, thank you. I know. Since you started your channel. Oh, you like my gumption. Well, we should all have gumption. So I promise you, I've had enough people try to knock me down. Yeah, I know, Miss Vicky. People shouldn't say some nasty things about you. It made me unhappy. I don't like people saying nasty things about Miss Vicky. Don't like those types of things. You know, I try not to say too many mean things about Tim's appearance, except that he lies about his height. Forever we were saying this guy has to stop. You're right. But nobody really, nobody really could think. And then once I tried to start doing this, the people got nasty. Carl's like, I think he's paid his penance living in the RV. No, he hasn't. And these guys are just as bad of a bully as Tim and Chris Google Maps were. They're all they're all bad. I mean, I don't see those guys any differently than I see Tim and Chris Google Maps, I have to say. That's just my opinion. You guys think whatever you want. But personally, I don't interact. If you ever notice, Carl comes in my chat now, I ignore him. And that's the way it's going to be. I don't know why he thinks I would engage with him. He's just a bearded bully. We love Miss Vicky. Yeah, we do too. All right, guys. I've been on too long. I'm going to end it because I want to get a snack. And I'll talk to you later. We'll keep you posted. Bye.
Life and Vibe, thanks so much. My queen, my Sarasota Tim expert.